But isn't it amazing to you? Like it was in the paper today about this country came out of the pandemic way better. We won the pandemic economically. I mean, America.
Did? God, I don't feel that way. Explain it to me. I feel like inflation's insane.
Inflation is not insane.
Bill, go buy a car.
There's numbers. I understand things, but it has
tripled here.
Look, I get that people
buy some fucking eggs.
That's why I say Biden. I wish he would get out of the way for somebody younger. But as far as can he actually do the job? Yes, he can. He's not senile, and most of the decisions are made
he's not senile?
He's not senile.
Bill!
All right, folks. Well, today we have a prime example of the ivory tower elitism of Bill Maher. And this is something I've been pointing out a lot more recently, which is conservatives will often have this conversation of why doesn't Bill truly get it? Why can't he fully wake up, right? Because on one hand, he'll call out the woke and he'll say some good stuff that right-wingers appreciate. And then on the other hand, he sometimes just fails to understand the true problems in our country. And I would argue a big reason for that, a big reason why Bill is so naive to these things sometimes, is look at the lifestyle that Bill lives. He lives probably in a nice home in Southern California, probably up in the Hollywood Hills, where he doesn't really have to deal with a lot of the real problems. And so when he says stuff like, I think Gavin Newsom is a great governor and I don't understand your problem with him. Well, if you don't have to deal with the problems that ordinary Californians deal with, then of course you're going to be led to that belief. And as you'll see here today, Bill basically denies that inflation is a thing, and he claims that the economy is doing great, right? What's the problem with the economy? Actually, things are doing pretty well. And again, you can understand why Bill believes that, but it's very naive, right? Because living the lifestyle that Bill lives, I mean, what's a little inflation to a rich guy like him? Nothing, of course. But of course, right, this is the problem, okay? This is a big example of that, and we'll play that here today. So, long story short, he had Jillian Michaels on the Club Random podcast, who is a fitness influencer. Funny story, my mom used to have DVDs of her back when I was a kid. So I sort of remember her from that. But they talked a little bit about health and fitness, and then they got into this political discussion. And check out what Bill has to say about inflation. And I would also note what I think is more interesting, arguably, about this conversation than some of the other ones he's had with Patrick Bet-David or whoever else, is usually he's getting into these debates with highly political people, right? So it's like talking point versus talking point, logic, whatever, right? But Jillian here, you know, she's not super political, and you can tell. She's just an ordinary person. She kind of calls things how she sees them. And I would argue, maybe in a way, I mean, she's kind of in the center. You could almost say this is a mold of a normal apolitical American. Anyways, take a listen to the exchange that ensues when Bill basically denies that inflation is even a thing. Check it out.
Nuclear weapons.
But isn't it amazing to you? Like it was in the paper today about this country came out of the pandemic way better. We won the pandemic economically. I mean, America.
Did? God, I don't feel that way. Explain it to me. I feel like inflation's insane.
Numbers.
Right.
Inflation is not insane.
Bill, go buy a car.
There's numbers. I understand things, but it has
tripled here.
Look, I get that people
buy some fucking eggs. Explain it to me. I'm not an economist.
There's feelings, and then there's the numbers.
Okay, what are the numbers?
The numbers have come down a lot in the last 6 months.
Okay.
Of course, it was inevitable when we gave out $6 trillion so that everybody could hide under the bed from the forever flu. That was never going to end well.
It was taken by the richest people ever and didn't get where it needed to go.
A lot of it was stolen. It was. We agree on that too. It was like, was there some response needed? Of course, you don't want the hospitals overrun, but it was just a massive overreaction, and that did cause some of the inflation. But the big story, the big picture is, every other nation in the world much worse off now. And this country, for some reason, just chugs fucking along. It's like, it's almost scarier because I think we're just cocky now when we think we can do anything. Trump handled it. Pandemic.
Okay, so you saw that, you get the idea. Again, what am I saying here? Okay, is that how the ordinary American feels about inflation? About people in my generation, the fact that what's a little bit of inflation? Well, when we look at the housing market and we're saying no way, that is a big deal. But of course, as I reiterate, Bill doesn't really understand this because he lives in the ivory tower. And of course, he can bring up, the numbers. What about the numbers in the economy? Well, I mean, first of all, it may be true. Maybe, I don't know, but it may be true that in terms of the way COVID kind of screwed up the world in many ways, the economy, that America is doing better off than a lot of other places. I'm fully willing to admit that or, accept that. But I would also point out, well, we're America. You're talking about the world superpower here, the biggest economy. And frankly, is that what Americans really care to hear? Or do we want to hear how the problem gets fixed in this country? Okay, it's called American exceptionalism for a reason. I don't care if we're doing better than other countries. I want it to be excellent in this country for our own standards. Okay, so that's just the point, though. But you basically get the crux of Bill's argument here. It's sort of the same argument of Joe Biden, which is, well, numerically, we've seen economic growth under our administration. It's like, yeah, when you came in as president, most places were still locked down, then they opened up. Oh yeah, that's real easy, right? By the way, no one is criticizing Biden for unemployment, right? Unemployment's not the problem with the Biden economy. It's not super hard to find jobs. The unemployment rate's not bad under Biden. And that's not what people feel. People feel the inflation. People feel the fact that they can't afford a house, a car, any of these things. And so, but of course, when you're Bill Maher, you can afford those things anyway. It doesn't matter if the price of a car triples, you can still buy the car. So, you see how it goes. Okay, that's the less interesting part of the debate, frankly. Okay, listen here when they start getting into Trump and Biden, and Bill basically becomes a little bit enraged because Jillian says that she will not support Biden. And keep in mind, she's a centrist, according to her. Like, she's of the opinion, I don't like either Trump or Biden. But as you know, with Bill Maher, when you simply say that you're sort of apathetic towards the election, that doesn't fly with him. So take a listen to what happens here next. Oh, and by the way, Bill Maher claims that Joe Biden is not senile. Okay? So there's another one. I totally forgot. That's part of the video. There you go. Okay.
That's why I say Biden. Now, I wish he would get out of the way for somebody younger, but as far as can he actually do the job? Yes, he can. He's not senile. And
he's not senile.
Most of the decisions are made
he's not senile?
He's not senile.
By the way, because Bill always, you could say it's a rigged justice system or whatever. I mean, it's obviously not rigged against Biden, but still, since Bill always likes to appeal to the authorities in our country, I would point out, everyone saw the report by now. According to the special counsel and our Department of Justice, yes, Joe Biden is senile, okay? Because they ruled in that report, he this is an official legal special counsel in our country. Keep that in mind, that he is not mentally fit to stand trial. Okay, and they basically excused him mishandling all the classified documents because he's an old man who doesn't really know what happens, and he forgets things all the time, and he forgets apparently when his son died and all that stuff. So just keep in mind that, forget what you see on TV. According to legal documents, that is the senility of Joe Biden. So anyways.
Bill! Did you see the thing where the Civil War and you needed more airports? And he's like, whoa! We think he's not senile.
He's not senile.
But Bill.
It's different.
What is that then? It wasn't happening like that when he was Obama's VP.
It doesn't, no, of course, he's a lot older and he shows it. It doesn't affect what matters. He doesn't, when they're talking in the Oval Office, first of all, he doesn't talk like that because he's just not, when you're old, you're not confident talking publicly.
Gone to me.
He's not gone.
It doesn't affect what matters. I mean, I guess realistically, it probably doesn't because he doesn't make most of the decisions and they kind of take it easy on him. But if he really is running the country like a normal president and not just occasionally signing off or getting approval, yeah, of course it affects what matters.
Brain is not gone. The decisions. Okay,
Do you
all
think
right.
he's making them? I don't think he's making them.
Oh,
Exactly.
That's a conspiracy theory. Of course he's making them.
How?
How?
He literally just called Trump the sitting president the other
And
day.
Trump just called, he did a whole rant.
Did I just tell you Trump was mentally
I'm
sound?
just, no, but he did the same thing. People get up in the upper years, and then, especially when you're like talking in public a lot, it's going to happen. It doesn't affect.
Oh, Bill.
Okay, don't give me Bill like in this
Do I need to
area.
Google?
I'm the one who doesn't know shit.
Okay.
Maybe you don't. I'm not saying you don't know shit.
No, I'm not claiming to know anything about politics, but watch the friggin' videos of the guy.
I've seen the videos.
He can't get off the stage.
Exactly. Right? Because Jillian Michaels is not political. She's a normal person. Maybe watch the news every now and then. And that's what everyone else sees. But Bill is like on his copium of delusion, and he doesn't understand this. Many such cases.
That's not true either. I've seen the videos. We've seen the same thing.
The bicycle store. He doesn't know where he's at. You think the guy knows? Okay. I mean, because
okay. Point area explored. We have a difference of opinion.
fair. You can school me on it. Tell me
Nobody knows. I'm just telling you. When he's sitting alone, not alone, when he's sitting with advisors in the Oval Office, where the job is actually done, not in this arena, which has you so interested in, this shiny object.
Object?
It's the shiny object that is distracting you because you're not in the Oval Office.
He looks demented. And I don't mean demented crazy. I mean like dementia.
Looks.
You know what's so ironic about this argument Bill is making? That basically doesn't really matter how he presents himself in public, but, how he does the job. Okay, I understand what he's trying to say. Maybe there's some component to it where I'm sure like Biden is slightly less senile in real life and in person than he is when he's making a speech. I get that. However, Bill, you talk about the shiny object. You talk about, hey, well, the public presentation, that's not everything. Then why do you support Gavin Newsom so much? Okay, why do you say Gavin he should run, blah, blah, blah? Because as you'll see, we talked about this in a Patrick Bet-David interview, but this comes up again, and this will be the last little segment here we react to. Bill basically has that logic when it comes to Newsom, right? He just cares about the shiny object, just cares about the personality. Oh, he has the charisma, he's slick, he can win. But remember, for instance, Patrick Bet-David asks him, what results do you like from Gavin Newsom? What do you like about his policy when he was governor of California? Bill had no answer. He literally said, I don't know. But because Bill is slick, he is because Gavin is slick, he is a shiny new object. In that case, Bill likes Gavin, but in the case of Biden, he'll defend Biden even though Biden doesn't have the shiny object. It's so stupid, right? It's insane. Anyways.
In your opinion.
Okay.
I mean, to me, those are signs of dementia.
Right.
Yeah, they both have some. Probably everybody does at that age. Probably everybody does.
But then maybe.
Do you ever walk into a room and you forget why you walked into the room?
I think there are degrees of this.
Of course, there are degrees.
Advanced on this
exactly,
spectrum.
and that's what we're talking about, degrees. You think the degree, I think it's ridiculous. You apparently think I'm ridiculous.
I don't think you're ridiculous.
You
That's
are ridiculous.
kind of your tone, yes, that I'm ridiculous to even think of it.
I'm surprised that it doesn't alarm you. That's all.
It doesn't.
I don't think you're ridiculous. I can't understand why it doesn't alarm you.
What alarms me is that he's going to lose the election because this is how he looks in public. That's what alarms me. It doesn't alarm me like what is he going to do when they come to him tomorrow when he's in the Oval Office at 9:30 a.m. He's probably good like a lot of people, especially at that age, in the morning. Don't get him in the afternoon. That's fine. We can do the business in the morning, sir. There's the bill that we're trying to get passed in the Senate, the immigration bill that Trump is blocking. Should we call Senator McConnell? Yes, and he gets on he can do that.
Okay, interesting argument from Bill Maher, right? Hey, who cares about his public appearance? He can do the job, blah, blah, blah. All right, well, let's contrast that, like I brought up and foreshadowed earlier, how I should say Bill feels about Gavin Newsom. Okay, but really quickly, we will also add in a little clip where he accuses Jillian Michaels of consuming too much right-wing media, and that's where she's getting radical ideas like Joe Biden might be a little senile. Okay, that's just spin from right-wing media. That's definitely not real. It's just like inflation, right? It's not real. It's right-wing propaganda. Anyways, and then they'll talk about Gavin Newsom. Here you go.
I don't trust anybody fully. They both, I've said this many times, they tell you they're feeding a narrative. They're stroking the audience first.
100%.
They want to tell the audience left and right. But having said that,
You think there's a
I think
lesser
you're
evil?
listening to too much right-wing bullshit these days. I do. I think you're listening to a lot of right-wing.
You don't think this guy, all that stuff that he's done that I just listed, is like?
I think it's like, I just.
You think the whole thing with his son is totally innocent?
No, I don't think any of
Like,
it's innocent or completely wrong. It's just like boring because it's like, yeah.
Call it like you see.
Yes, I do.
Well, okay. Can I ask you, what do you think of Gavin Newsom?
All right, here we go.
Just had him on my show.
I know. I thought you were a little soft there. Thought you could have gone a little harder on the guy.
Absolutely. Especially considering Bill has a tendency to complain about so many of the certain policies of California. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to the fact Bill is charmed, right? Bill is charmed by the personality. That's all he really, Gavin's a nice guy. I like his hair. Like, that's really what this is about, right?
You brought up Almonds. You nailed him on that, but he's taking money from Big Ag, Bill. That's why he didn't Almonds. Anyway, I'm building desalination plants. You're taking tons of money from Big Ag, which is why almonds are still in California.
That's true. I didn't know what the, you got me. I didn't know what the answer to that is.
That's the answer. Or like, how come PG&E was allowed to get away with the 2018 fires? One of the top contributors to his get coming.
I've got like 12 minutes at the top of the show to cover the whole world. I wasn't about to like make it all about the almonds. The fact that I brought up the almonds is something nobody else would even fucking do.
Okay, you're right. You're right.
So
you're right.
I'm all right on that one.
You're good.
But I've been trying to get Gavin to run for president for a very long time. And
Are
exactly.
you serious? Are we living in
That's my reaction exactly. Oh, no, it's true. It's true, right? Bill, and when you listen to Bill speak, he has no reason why he wants Gavin to be president other than the thing he defended Biden for not having, which is the charm, the personality. Oh, yeah, Bill? Well, if you just like his personality, but deep down you kind of think he's a woke nut job, like the type that you call out so much, then let's talk about that. When he's in the Oval Office, what kind of decisions will Gavin Newsom be making? Huh? What? Like, think about that for a second. Anyways, I'm just pointing that out.
California? Why?
Yeah, and I'm sure your life is just a nightmare.
Left because of him.
Oh, right, you're
Moved
in
to
Florida?
Miami.
And so, you know what? I'll tell you something.
Lived here my whole life.
2020, I've lived here since '83.
Okay.
And I love where I live. I love California.
I lived in Malibu.
I'm dug in here. I did in 2020, when there was a week when the sun was blotted out from the sky because of fires, I did look at moving to Florida. Now, I think it was a little like when I was contemplating suicide when I was in high school and college. If I got laid once, I would stop to and I don't think I was ever really going to do it. But I did actually, or get married. I was engaged once, but there are things you in your life, you're like, you know what, I might do that. And part of you is like, yeah, never going to do that. Okay. So, and I think moving to Florida.
Interesting, Bill, that's a metaphor for your political beliefs, right? It's actually perfect. Because sometimes you teeter on the brink of leaving the left. You're like, well, that's stupid. This is stupid. Maybe I don't associate with these people. But then at the end of the day, what does it always revert back to? Trump is bad. So in many ways, I guess it sums up Bill Maher's personality. Stubborn old man, right? Sometimes we'll question his ways, but we'll never change them. It's very true.
Party is in that category, but I did look at it because I share your frustrations with California. I do. And those are the things I was saying to him.
I mean, this is one I think I could speak to again, pretty eloquently.
Are you happier in Florida?
Yeah.
What is it in Florida that compensated more than what you had here?
It feels less crazy than it does here. Here, you just
Florida's less crazy.
Yeah, hear me out. Hear me out on this.
Really?
Being someone who has made that same exact move, it's actually true, right? Florida has a stereotype because Florida man, haha, like yeah, it's kind of funny, it's a thing, but when you walk around and, you know, there isn't mass looting happening everywhere, which, like, I'm not exaggerating. I'm from LA, okay? This is what's happening over there now. People just run in, they do smash and grabs. Like, people in my family have literally witnessed them. My friends have witnessed them. They're that common, okay? That, I think that is crazier than seeing something on the news. But, you know, anyways.
Really?
Here's
the
what I
place
mean.
where the people are on bath salts, like
Your
fucking an
girl,
alligator?
Sage Steele asked me. She's
But
like,
here's the difference. That's charming, okay? That's funny. Like that's cool. You know, it's not cool. Crap on the street. Okay, you know, it's not cool being at Nordstrom Rack trying to buy something, and then, oh, here comes a crowd of teenagers. Oh, let's, like, you know, that's the difference. I think that's a difference between the crazy of Florida, which is charming and funny and kind of like an identity of ours. I guess I'm saying ours now, versus California, which is the crazy, is just like your life is in danger or this sucks. That's the difference.
what was the moment when you felt like California had lost its mind? And it was a piece of legislation that I can't recall.
Did it affect your life?
But Bill,
Did it affect your
is
life?
the crime affecting our lives? Is the homelessness affecting our
was
lives?
crime affecting your life here in
Yeah,
California?
absolutely. My house got broken into.
Your house got broken into.
Yes, and guess what? The relationship with PG&E, my house burned down in 2018.
Where's your house?
I lived in Malibu.
Malibu.
Yeah.
You got broken into in Malibu?
I got...
See that right there? Prime example of the Bill Maher elitism I am talking about. And with that, I think we can basically cut off the clip because we more or less get the idea now, okay? That's prime example. Remember earlier in the video, I talked about Bill Maher, elitist, that's why he doesn't realize the inflation. That's a perfect example. He asked Jillian Michaels, but does it affect your life? Of course it doesn't affect your life, Bill. At least, hopefully not yet, right? Who knows? They've been breaking into everywhere. It's funny. Beverly Hills, as I'm sure everyone knows, hey, that's the nice part. That's the rich part, right? Santa Monica Promenade, those used to be like that. But nowadays in LA, those are not seen so more as like perfect places where there won't be crime. I mean, people have started doing the smash and grab at Beverly Hills. I heard Santa Monica's freaking ghetto now. You know, this is a thing. And so Malibu, a home invasion happening there or a burglary, not really surprised. But that's besides the point. Okay? That's such a telling question by Bill. But does it really affect your life? It may not affect your life, Bill Maher, because you live in the Ivory Tower. Literally, you live probably at the top of Hollywood Hills. But it affects the life of, I mean, Jillian Michaels isn't even a regular person technically, but it affects the life of regular people in California. Do you understand the point there? Okay? Like, I get it. You don't have kids. You're not married. Like, you live a lifestyle where it's hard to look past yourself. But for once, look past yourself for a little bit, okay? Just because it doesn't affect you doesn't mean it's not affecting a lot of people. And I'm not glad that it happened to Jillian Michaels, but I'm glad she was there to check him for that. Like, yes, actually, it did happen to me, okay, with the home invasion. And also the PG&E thing, that there's another scandal with Gavin Newsom there. It's probably a little more obscure, but that's also a very important one there, right? Wow. Bill's finally finally Bill realizes that those issues that are the consequence of Democrat leadership like Newsom or Biden, wow, they're actually personal to people? Wow, they actually affect real people that I know? Yes, Bill. Yes. Okay? Get off your high horse. Get off your ivory tower for a second. You can go back there and sleep there at night, but for a second, recognize that the problems happening all around you are real problems. And just because they don't affect you doesn't mean they're not real. And that's the point in this video, I suppose. Nice way to wrap up. But yeah, with that said, folks, there were the highlights of the Bill Maher, Jillian Michaels interview. Let me know what you thought of the just delusion that Bill spread at certain points of this. I encourage you actually to go watch the full thing because I thought it was pretty decent. They had a solid conversation about Ozempic and stuff like that. Obviously, you know, Jillian's niche is fitness, so that makes sense. And I sort of appreciated the fact that she is like a totally, mostly non-political person who's more or less in the center. She doesn't like Trump or Biden, but her her mortified, shocked reaction when Bill said something stupid, it was perfect. It was perfect. Okay. With that said, folks, be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and until next time, Alpha moves only. God bless. Have a very great rest of your day, and peace.